Welcome back to another video on my 1996 Toyota Camry LE. There are a lot of changes that are going to be happening in the garage or with our vehicles, and because of that I need to expedite the project on the 96 Camry so that I can get it out of the garage, either to my parents who now have decided that they may not want the car, or listed and sold off to a new home, someone that will actually use this car as a commuter because it has sat long enough. So in today's video I have one goal, and that is to get the exhaust off of this car and get that flex pipe that is completely rotted out replaced. The previous owner tried to do some shoddy repair on it where he wrapped it, the rotted out section of the flex pipe, with that heat shrink, like heat protectant wrap for exhausts, or I don't know what you call it, but that clearly has not worked because the car has a hole there and it is very loud, much louder than it should be. This car already looks so rough, it does not need to be loud and draw even more attention to itself. So we're going to pull the exhaust off. I think that's the easiest way to fix this. We're going to figure out what size it is, we're going to get a flex pipe, and we're going to replace it, or at least try to, because I am not that amazing at welding. And there are a lot of wasps flying around, so if I swat at something, that's what's going on. Yes, there are a lot of changes happening in the garage, mainly starting off with my 99 Audi A8. Yes, I just got the car back, but it's time for me to sell it. It really is. I've had this car for 2 years. It's been a really fun and enjoyable project. We did a lot of work to this car. If you're interested in this vehicle, jump back onto my channel because most of my old videos are on this car, and we did some crazy major repairs to it. We did head gaskets, timing belt job, a bunch of seals in the engine, and then all said and done, the starter was bad, so we tore it back apart and did a starter on it. So if you're interested in that kind of content, more in-depth repair videos, check them out on my 99 Audi A8, because if you don't, you're truly missing out on that content. But unfortunately, I don't have any more content coming out on that car. I may have a video here and there before I sell it, but it is time to sell it to someone else that's going to actually drive the car and that's going to actually appreciate it for what it is. Right now it just sits in the driveway because I spend most of the time driving work pickups, being self-employed. So it's time to pass it off to a new owner. It's become kind of a financial burden, so it's got to go. And then we have a few other changes in the garage that I'm not ready to announce yet, but a few other vehicles may be leaving us, maybe possibly to make room for more. All right, we're gonna try to do this repair on ramps. I really wish we had a lift, but we don't, so we may have to upgrade the jack stands here in a minute. But this is the flex pipe here. It comes, you know, out of the down pipe into the flex pipe, and then on back. Now this is a front wheel drive car, so if you do not have a flex pipe here, like if you're thinking of just deleting it and putting a straight pipe through, no, that's not right. This has to have a flex pipe because being front wheel drive, there's a lot of extra torque and movement down here. And if you do away with that flex pipe, you will break your exhaust, and there's a good chance that you break it up there at the manifold on the engine or some bolts. So you do not want to do that. It's just cheaper to put a new flex pipe in the long run. So we're going to try to get the exhaust pipe off. We're going to break it off of the cat up there by undoing those 3 bolts. I then think instead of trying to get the hangers out, I'm just going to take the mounts off. So I'll undo those 2 bolts. There's another one back there, and then there's another one in the rear. And I'm gonna try to break, now those bolts are really rusty, but I'm gonna try to break the 3 bolts off of the muffler in the back so I don't have to drop the muffler. I don't know how that's going to go. If it doesn't work, I'll just drop this exhaust down here onto the ground and see if we can't work on the flex pipe. Now, you can see right here is the hole. This car is very, very, very loud with the hole because it's just kind of a straight out exhaust. I mean, it hits the cat and then it comes just straight out before the other cat and resonator and the muffler. So I don't know why he thought this heat shielding wrap would work, but it didn't. So we're gonna go ahead and try to take this off and do it the right way. This is my setup to get into the bolts. I just have, what is that, like a 10-inch extension, a deep 14 millimeter socket. That's what size of bolts there, and then an impact. I should have brought my torque wrench out down here, which if this don't work I may have to go get, but this should break those bolts loose. They do not look that bad up there. That was so easy. So here are the 3 bolts from up there, which you can see is now very loose apparently. And then here are the 2 bolts from this mount right here, which has completely lowered the exhaust. And this is so broken that I think this is all I'm gonna have to do to pull it apart. Now to get it back on, I may have to go drop the exhaust from back there as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and just kind of try to pull this downpipe out like so. There's the downpipe. We'll pull that, set it out here. Looks like this is a flanged coupling here. So we'll probably break this wrap off and see if we need to take that off. Possibly this is part of the flex pipe. And if that's the case, then we are gonna have to at least take this off from the cat back this way so that we can weld a new one on there. We may just be able to get away with undoing those bolts, but they are super rusty, and I don't know if we're gonna be able to do it with the impact, so that might be kind of a hard clamp to remove there. And just like that, the exhaust is off the car. I did decide to pull the whole thing, and the hangers back here in the rear, those 3 were a bear to get off. They were quite difficult, but I thought that was easier than removing the mounts. So I did pull the hanger in the middle and then the 3 back here, dropped the whole exhaust just to make it easy to see what is going on and to fix it. Here is the exhaust. So there's the downpipe, the broken part, second cat, the resonator with that 3rd hanger there, and then all the way back here is the muffler that has 3 hangers on it. The hangers are pretty loose. I really should replace them as I put this back on. I don't know if we're going to do that or not, but it's just a little easier to work on this exhaust with it all the way out of the car, and it's also easier to show you guys what is wrong. So obviously this flex pipe has completely rotted apart from this coupling or flange, or I don't know what it was, but that used to be all one solid piece to give it a little bit of flex as you're driving and as you're shifting gears and whatnot. Now up here where it comes out of the first catalytic converter, that's in really good shape actually. All the other bolts on this exhaust, because of their nature of being underneath the car, are completely rusted, and there's just no way to separate that. I may have to separate that and then just get some new bolts, but for now I'm gonna try to just replace this flex pipe. If I can't do that, I may have to replace this whole downpipe with the flex pipe back to the cat, or yeah, back to the cat here where it is just kind of clamped on, which I don't know, it depends on the parts that we can find. And then like I said, I really should put new hangers on the back muffler there that is pretty loose. Somebody tried to remedy this hole or this rot with some of this tape that's like heat chilled shrink, or I don't know what you call it, but it was not a permanent fix, just something temporary that maybe quieted it down for a time. But of course, here's a clip of the car running with the hole and with this problem. I do wish that I had a lift, but this is not a hard repair whatsoever. If you had a lift, it'd be super, super easy, but I really had no trouble getting the entire exhaust off, of course, from that first cat and downpipe back with just a set of ramps, you know, just a set of oil change ramps. It really wasn't that bad. So if you're going to change the exhaust or work on the exhaust on your 90s Toyota Camry, it really is a super easy and simple repair process. Just pull those 3 bolts, pull everything else off the hangers, drop it down, and pull it out. Now, without further ado, I'm going to quit stalling and I'm going to provide the content that you've all been waiting for. What does a 96 2.2 liter inline 4 sound like straight piped, or in this case with no exhaust? So here's a cold startup because the car sat overnight. There apparently was a wasp's nest on the car somewhere that did not like me revving it up, which is why I'm now standing farther away. I did get one little sting from a wasp, unfortunately. I will have to deal with them later, but there you have it. A 90s 2200 Toyota inline 4-cylinder with no exhaust. It doesn't sound good. This car is meant to be quiet, which is why we're fixing the flex pipe that is completely rotted out and broken off before it sounds totally horrendous like that. If you have any questions or if you want to leave a comment, something to suggest, go ahead and drop a comment down below. Also, smash like on this video if you thought that this sounded terrible. Maybe you thought it sounded good, and if you did, you might consider straight piping your car, but I really wouldn't. I'd just fix the exhaust so it's back to factory spec. With all of that said, I hope you guys are doing great. Get out, work on your Camry, enjoy your automotive ownership, and I'll catch you in the next video.